I have to admit, I have been on the absolute edge of my seat ever since Catherine Cat Richardson and Eva Thomas were wheeled into that operating room for their high-stakes liver transplant surgery. The sheer miracle of both women surviving this agonizing, life-or-death medical crisis is something we all desperately needed to see. But if you thought the drama was going to end the moment the anesthesia wore off, you clearly haven't been paying attention to the masterful storytelling on Beyond the Gates. The physical surgery might be over, but the emotional and psychological operations are just beginning, and the tension radiating through the halls of Garland Memorial Hospital is thick enough to cut with a scalpel. Let us start by analyzing the incredibly loaded interaction between Leslie Thomas and our resident hero, Kat. When Leslie waltzed into Kat's hospital room, I could practically feel the awkward, suffocating energy through the screen. Leslie, in her classic, deeply manipulative fashion, tried to play off the overwhelming weight of the situation with lighthearted, teasing banter. She genuinely seemed thrilled and grateful that Kat saved Eva's life by donating a piece of her liver, but Leslie being Leslie, she just couldn't resist throwing in a little jab. She joked that she had secretly hoped Kat's notoriously fiery, diva-like personality would have magically changed after the surgery, but alas, Kat is still the same fierce woman she has always been. I absolutely loved Kat in this moment. I was cheering for her. Instead of brushing off the joke or letting Leslie take control of the narrative, Kat looked her dead in the eye and made it crystal clear that this life debt is very, very real. Leslie acknowledged that she owes Kat everything and promised to be ready whenever Kat decides to collect. But this makes me wonder, what exactly is Kat going to demand? Kat is incredibly smart, and she knows that holding a life debt over the head of a master manipulator like Leslie Thomas is the ultimate trump card. Will she force Leslie to publicly confess to her past crimes? Will she demand that Leslie leave Fairmont Crest forever once Eva is fully recovered? Or will Kat hold on to this leverage, waiting for the perfect, most devastating moment to cash it in? Knowing Kat, she is going to play the long game, and I am entirely here for it. But that is not all. The real explosive drama occurred when the focus shifted to Eva's recovery room. Leslie has been hovering over Eva like a desperate, overbearing hawk. Facing the terrifying reality of almost losing her child has pushed Leslie's controlling tendencies into absolute overdrive. She cherishes Eva more than ever, but her version of love is suffocating. During their conversation, Leslie dropped a massive bombshell, casually announcing that she would be moving in with Eva to properly care for her during her recovery. The physical reaction from Eva was instantaneous and incredibly telling. The medical monitors practically screamed as Eva's heart rate violently spiked. She completely rejected the idea. Eva does not want her mother moving in, and frankly, who can blame her? The history of toxicity between these two is deeply documented. But it was Leslie's reaction to Eva's rejection that sent absolute chills down my spine and opened up a Pandora's box of wild theories. In a moment of frustration and bizarre humor, Leslie made a massive slip of the tongue. While trying to joke about Eva's newfound resistance and fiery attitude, Leslie blurted out that Eva was not acting like her daughter at all, but rather she was acting exactly like Kat. Leslie even went as far as to joke that receiving Kat's liver must have given Eva a personality transplant, absorbing Kat's stubborn traits. On the surface, this might seem like a harmless, albeit tasteless, joke from a stressed mother. But Eva's reaction was nothing short of spectacular, and it completely shifted the dynamic of the room. Eva was absolutely furious. She did not find Leslie's joke funny in the slightest. For months, these two half-sisters have been at each other's throats, engaging in a bitter rivalry. But receiving a piece of Kat's liver has fundamentally shifted Eva's perspective. Eva fiercely defended Kat, pointing out the profound, selfless nobility of her half-sister's sacrifice. Kat literally put her own life on the line. She faced severe, life-threatening complications and almost died on that operating table, all to save a woman who had previously slept with her boyfriend and caused her immense pain. Eva treasures that sacrifice, and she was disgusted that Leslie would use Kat's near-fatal generosity as the punchline for a cheap joke. So this makes me wonder, was it really just a joke? Eva immediately caught the strange, unsettling undertone in her mother's voice. She interrogated Leslie, demanding to know if this was truly just a slip of the tongue or if Leslie was accidentally leaking a massive, dark secret. Eva point blank questioned if Leslie was hiding something about her identity. And honestly, Ava has every single right in the world to be profoundly suspicious of her mother. Let us take a walk down memory lane and look at Leslie's horrific track record with the truth. For years, Leslie systematically lied to Eva about the identity of her father. She hid the fact that Ted Richardson was Eva's biological dad, orchestrating a massive web of deceit purely for her own pride and her grand plan for revenge against Ted. Leslie has proven time and time again that she is more than capable of looking her daughter straight in the eyes and lying for decades. The trust between them is fundamentally shattered. So when Leslie says, "You're not my daughter," even in a joking context, the alarm bells in Eva's head and in the minds of the viewers are ringing at full volume. My theory is that the rumors currently swirling around the fandom and the residents of Fairmont Crest are absolutely, undeniably true. For a long time, there have been whispers that Eva might not actually be Ted Richardson's biological daughter. People have speculated that Leslie completely fabricated the paternity test or manipulated the timeline to trap Ted, secure her financial future, and force her way into the elite circles of the Dupree and Richardson families. If this is true, the sheer cruelty of the situation is unfathomable. Kat just risked her life, endured a coma, and suffered an out-of-body experience to save a girl she believed was her biological half-sister. If Eva is not Ted's daughter, Kat sacrificed a piece of her liver for a complete stranger. The emotional fallout from that revelation would absolutely destroy Ted, Nicole, and Kat, and it would cement Leslie as the ultimate irredeemable villain of the show. But what if we take this theory a step further? What if the secret is even darker and more twisted than paternity fraud? What if Eva isn't Leslie's daughter at all? Think about it. Soap operas are famous for the classic hospital baby swap or the stolen child trope. What if, years ago, Leslie lost her own baby and in a moment of desperate, psychotic grief, stole another woman's child? What if Leslie was merely a surrogate who decided to run away with the baby? This would perfectly explain Leslie's suffocating, obsessive need to control Eva. It feels less like healthy maternal love and more like a desperate, paranoid need to possess something she knows deep down she stole. If Eva is not Leslie's biological daughter, it recontextualizes their entire toxic relationship. It would explain why they clash so fundamentally and why Leslie is so terrified of Eva gaining independence. Let us dive into the evidence hidden in the small details. When the doctors were searching for a liver donor, Leslie immediately volunteered, but she was quickly ruled out as a match. At the time, we assumed it was just a blood type incompatibility or a minor medical issue. But what if the doctors discovered that Leslie lacked the genetic markers of a biological mother? What if the hospital staff already knows the truth, and Leslie is desperately trying to cover her tracks before Dr. Arnold or Dr. McCormick reviews the genetic profiles from the transplant workup? The sudden termination of the free clinic by the new chief of staff, Dr. Monica McCormick, might not just be about hospital politics. What if Dr. McCormick found anomalies in Leslie's medical files and is cutting ties with a woman she suspects of severe medical or identity fraud? If any of these theories prove to be true, what will become of Leslie Thomas? I can see several incredibly dramatic possibilities for her ultimate fate. First, if the truth comes out that she lied about Ted's paternity or stole Eva, she could face severe criminal charges. We could see Leslie being dragged out of Fairmont Crest in handcuffs, sentenced to years in a federal penitentiary for fraud and kidnapping. Alternatively, she might be completely exiled by the community. The Dupree and Richardson families wield immense power. If they find out Leslie conned them into risking Kat's life, they will financially and socially ruin her. She would lose her house, her clinic, and every ounce of social standing she has fought so ruthlessly to build. There is also the possibility of a much darker fate. If Leslie is backed into a corner with her lies exposed, she might completely lose her grip on reality. We could see her being committed to a psychiatric facility, forever trapped in her own delusions of grandeur. Or, in true soap opera fashion, she could be the victim of a classic whodunit murder mystery. If everyone in town discovers her ultimate betrayal, the suspect list for her murder would be a mile long. Ted, Nicole, Kat, Martin, and even Eva herself would all have prime motives to eliminate Leslie Thomas once and for all. As for Eva, my heart absolutely breaks for her. She just survived a harrowing near-death experience. She is lying in a hospital bed, physically weak, only to potentially face an identity crisis that could shatter her entire reality. If she discovers that Ted is not her father, she loses the family she just fought so hard to be a part of. If she discovers Leslie is not her mother, her entire life has been a fabricated lie. However, I believe this could be the catalyst for Eva's ultimate redemption and independence. Stepping out from the dark, toxic shadow of Leslie Thomas might be exactly what Eva needs to forge her own path. And ironically, this shared trauma of being manipulated by Leslie might be the exact thing that permanently bonds Eva and Kat together, not as biological sisters, but as two women who survived the ultimate deception. I am absolutely hooked on this storyline. The writers are planting these brilliant, subtle seeds of doubt, and I cannot wait to see how this massive explosion of truth plays out. Will Kat demand a DNA test as part of her life debt? Will Ted stumble upon the medical records? Will Eva confront Leslie and force a confession? The tension is unbearable, and I will be analyzing every single look, every single word, and every single monitor beep in the coming episodes. Let me know your theories in the comments below, because this mystery is far from over.